If you're a fan of Gary Vee and D-Rock, this podcast is made for you in mind. You already know what the duo is all about, and they've inspired you to take steps and chase your goals. This is a show for the hungry and self-driven individuals who understand that it's their responsibility to create the life they want to live. You might have a day job that helps you pay the bills, but you want something more. Something that may lead to bigger and better. Something that supports what you're passionate about, what you know a lot about, and revolve around a certain lifestyle. In our digital age, it's less about the commodity and more about the experience. Many brands out there are looking for real people to help them with their promotions. As a result, this has opened many doors and created opportunities for people from all walks of life with different talents. Whether or not influencing other people's decision is your full-time job, persuasion is one of the most important and relevant skills to have. I come from a background in sales, consulting, and customer service, and in all these roles, the question often circles back to, why should they choose you? Modern technology has transformed the way we consume information. In our digitalized culture, anybody with access to the internet can create and distribute their work. Anybody can essentially become the expert of their field, in turn, have an audience. In this podcast, we'll share the lessons, stories, and interviews to help you go beyond the transaction and build your own community while creating opportunities in the information age. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Get Personal. I'm your host, Austin, and this week we're going to be talking about a skill that everyone needs, but not everyone has yet mastered. And the skill I'm referring to is communication. No matter what you choose to do in your life, no matter what you want to have in your life, your perceived value is a direct reflection of how you display your worth. This can be achieved through a couple methods, but the principle still remains the same. Knowing how to communicate your thoughts and solution is a powerful skill to master. We are social creatures after all, and every one of us belongs to some kind of community. Look back on your past experiences and really dig deeper at all counts when it comes to chasing what you wanted. Did you get what you wanted? The reality is that none of us can get everything we want in life, at least on the first attempt. Everyone, and that includes the best of the best, have faced some sort of rejection. It sucks at first, but it's part of the process. The better we get at it though, the more opportunities we find available. For instance, let's use an example of a restaurant. Have you ever wondered why higher-end restaurants always require reservations months in advance before the actual date? And the customers don't mind this at all. Or take a photographer who's already in high demand, is still continuing to fill up their calendar. It used to make me curious as to why customers don't just go with someone or something else that provides the similar services. When I started studying business and marketing, it all made more sense to me. I began to see the importance of market value and how communication in the form of marketing and branding can impact a customer's buying decision. It also took me into the world of sales and just how versatile and sought after this particular set of skill is. Sales is the one skill that if you master, opportunities will come knocking on your door. Every business needs to make money, and to do so, they need to not only keep their current customers happy, but also find new customers. And if you're job hunting and you have a strong persuasive skill, you most likely will convince them that you are the right candidate. Now let's tackle some myths about sales. Myth number 1, you have to be born with the natural ability to hold conversations. While it may help to be naturally good at talking like itself is like any other skill. The more you practice, the better you get at it. I was personally never considered an extrovert, but that never stopped me. And one thing that really helped me out was being genuinely curious and interested in what's being talked about. Myth number 2, sales is manipulation. It's easy to see why people still think this way. When you think of a salesperson, you think of someone who is presented as quote-unquote tricking or conning someone into parting with their money. But simply put, sales is just communication. It's just informing the person of the product or service and answering the questions at hand while providing viable solutions. Myth number 3, I don't need the skill since I don't work and will never work in sales. You're actually selling every day. Just because money doesn't change hands doesn't mean you're not using the art of persuasion. When you're trying to get that promotion at work, you have to show that you are capable of handling responsibilities and you have some managerial skills. That's a form of sales. When there's a new restaurant you want to try, but your partner isn't ready, so you point out all the benefits of that place. That's a form of sales as well. You use the skill of persuasion every day, oftentimes without even realizing it. As I mentioned earlier, I wasn't born naturally good at talking to people. I had to learn the skills of effective communication and practice over and over. I'm glad I did though, because being able to communicate effectively opens doors. Sometimes the best opportunities come from the strangest places. And I highly recommend anyone who's interested in starting their own business start out with a position in sales. It's the lifeblood of any successful business, and you also provide customer service. It may not be the most glamorous job, but if you're great at it, it's a sign that you could potentially be a great business person. And that's a wrap on this episode. I hope you got some value from that. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe and follow button while leaving a honest review of what you think of the podcast so far. I'm a new podcaster, and that would mean the world to me to get some honest feedback on how I can improve. If you have any questions, comments, or anything that I can help you with, please leave that in the comments below, and I will get back to you shortly.